Ang Chinese ay isa sa pinakalumang kultura sa buong mundo na nagmula pa sa libo-libong taon na ang nakararaan. From the Qing Dynasty to the late Qing Dynasty, ang government ng China ay hinati sa 4 na klase ng mamamayan. Ito ay ang landlord, peasant, craftsman, and merchant. Pagdating naman sa kanilang instrumento, ang gusheng ay isa sa musical instrument ng mga Chinese. At sa kanilang pagsasayaw, ang kadalasan nilang pina-perform sa teatro ay patungkol sa mga folk dances, pero sa panahon natin ngayon, ang kilalang sayaw ng mga Chinese ay yung tinatawag na Dragon Dance and the Lion Dance. Ang Beijing ay binansagan na most populous capital city with over 21 million residents. At ang city na ito ay located sa North China na mayroong 16 urban, suburban, and rural district. Ayon naman sa early history ng Beijing, China, ang tirahan noon ng mga Peking Man ay matatagpuan sa caves of Dragon Bone Hill sa lugar na Fangshan District. Samantala, ang dialekto na ginagamit ng mga Chino ay tinatawag na Putonghua or Mandarin. Tayo naman ay magtungo sa different tourism network ng Beijing, China. The famous infrastructure in Beijing, China, they have telecommunication system, their sewage plant, the drainage system in the Forbidden City, and the Yongding River. The telecommunication in China were established rapidly in the early of 1950s, and by 1952, the principal telecommunications network centered on Beijing and links to all large cities had finally been established. The Qinghe wastewater treatment or the sewage plant in Beijing, China has the capacity to serve 814,000 people. The drainage system in the Forbidden City can be drained the floods in 20 minutes and also work together with the modern system to regulate the water level. And lastly, the Yongding River is also known as the largest river to flow through Beijing. But in recent years, the river has dried up due to environmental issues. For the famous superstructure in Beijing, China, they have airports has 3 terminals. The main international airport in Beijing, China was called Beijing Capital International Airport or BCIA, and this airport has 3 terminals. The Terminal 1 in BCIA serves the domestic routes of Hainan Airlines and its subsidiaries, while the Terminal 2 serves China Southern Airlines, China Eastern Airlines, SkyTeam, One World Members, American Airlines, Sri Lankan Airlines, and other domestic or international flights. And the newest terminal in BCIA is the Terminal 3 that serves Air China, Star Alliance, and some other domestic or international flights that do not operate from either Terminal 1 or Terminal 2. The second international airport in Beijing, China was called Beijing Daxing International Airport or BDIA, and it has been nicknamed Starfish. For the famous tourist attractions in Beijing that came from the natural, first is the mountains. The most visited section of the Great Wall of China was called Badaling. The next mountain is an extension of the Taihang Mountains, and it is significant for its wildlife, especially birds, was called Lingshan Mountain or Mount Ling. While the first peak in the southwest of Beijing was called by Kopan Mountain, and the second highest peak in Beijing was called Haituo Mountain. And lastly, the most famous because of the large quantities of flowers was called the Baihua Mountain. And then the largest lakes of Beijing was called Huhai Lake that can be found along with Qianhai Front Lake and Shihai Western Lake, while the rivers are Shaobai River, Hai River, Juma River, and the Yongding River. And finally, the caves are Shihua Cave is also known as Stoneflower Cave, Yinhua Cave, and also known as Silver Fox Cave, Yunshue Cave, and the Jingdong Cars Cave. One of the famous tourist attractions for the entertainment centers was called National Center for the Performing Arts. Ang NCPA ay isa sa pinakamalaking theater complex sa buong Asia at idinisign siya ng isang French architect na si Paul Andrew. And for the theme parks or amusement parks in Beijing, China are Happy Valley, Beijing Jiolong Amusement Park, and Beijing Shijinshan Amusement Park. Para naman sa mga turista na mahilig magpunta sa mga museums, ang Palace Museum Forbidden City is the most popular museum sa Beijing, China, followed by the third most visited museum in Beijing was called National Museum, at madami pang ibang mga museums na pwedeng puntahan sa Beijing, China, katulad ng Chinese Aviation Museum, Beijing Capital Museum, National Art Museum of China, China Railway Museum, and Beijing Museum of Natural History. At isa sa pinaka-tourist attractions ng Beijing, China ay yung mga historic sites katulad ng the Great Wall and Forbidden City, followed by the Summer Palace, Ming Tombs, Peking Man site at Sukojan, Yuan Mingyuan Imperial Garden, Drum and Bell Tower, Beijing Ancient Observatory, Yuan the Du Relics, and Lugo Bridge. When the hospitality customs in China is very much centered on the concept of respect, so that whether you are a tourist passing through or looking to make a business partnership, be sure that you don't accidentally seem disrespectful. For example, when you are greeting Chinese people, do not bow, just say ni hao or maybe a simple soft handshake and smile to them. For the transportation in Beijing, China, they have high-speed rail, subway rail, and for the public transportation, they have the buses, rickshaws, and taxis. And for the other transportation, they have their own cars and bicycles. See you, Mr. Fernandez.